gonna stop you.
No.
Okay, welcome to the Self-Publishing Roundtable's weekly roundup of indie publishing news and stuff. I am your host, Erica Conroy, and today I'm joined by Chrishuan, Keller, Hanna.
Hello all. Pardon my giggling.
And our special guest author, Zoe Wright. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
Oh, I called you Zoe Wright. I'm sorry. I got part of your email address, didn't I? Zoe York.
That could be like my fifth pen name. That would be great.
Zoe Wright. Hey.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay. We're starting the day off great. I mean, I only got up a half an hour ago.
I can't even imagine.
So let's start off. We haven't been on for a few weeks, so we've got probably some old news to go through, as well as a little bit of new news. But let's start with Amazon marketing services for all. So near the end of April, Amazon announced that they were making a number of marketing services available to those who were advantage publishers, which means you pay a yearly fee that is deducted from your sales, and you get access to these lovely services, which include keyword tag pay per click, which can raise your book in the search results but you only pay if your book gets clicked on. What they call A+ detail pages gets you more stuff on your book's page, like video, extra photos, and offerings. Pricing discounts that act like coupon discounting on your book, and marketing review dashboards so you can check out your returns on investment on each marketing option that you try, as well as access to Vine reviewers. But each one of those ends up costing you on top of that as well. Yeah. So what do we think of this new offer from Amazon? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'm not interested at all. Like, none of that seems like a part of none of that seems to fit into my marketing plan. Maybe the access to the Vine reviewers, but honestly, I think that Vine reviewers who are looking for books are also NetGalley reviewers.
Right. Mm-hmm. For me, I think what they're trying to do, this is a big hook to grab the big indie fish. Those who are making millions of dollars, either by going exclusively Amazon or make across the board, and they're trying to opening up the features that big publishers get, hoping to have more money and get more revenue through them, number one. Number two, I believe they're also trying to compete with Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and now with Pinterest opening up ads as well. So they're getting all this access, all this traffic to Amazon from other places. They want to be able to gather that data for themselves because data is very important to them, and buying habits are very important to them. Yeah. And not only that, they also know that indie publishers are willing to pay a little bit. They said that even though it's a yearly fee, there's also, you could end up spending upwards of $2,000 to $3,000.
Well, the Vine reviewers are $1,500.
Yeah. So I think Chrishuan makes a really good point that this is probably targeted at indie authors who are already running, medium-sized businesses, right? So mid six-figure, low seven-figure a year businesses, because at that level, for one thing, advertising dollars are a write-off, right? So you can try more things. And they also fit into a larger puzzle of brand awareness. And you pay more money for brand awareness than you do for a specific, advertising project that you expect to see a positive return on investment for. And this, in some ways, cycles back to advertising 10, 15 years ago. There are some outdated blogs right now whose advertising fees don't make any sense to indie authors because they seem really exorbitant, but they fit into a model from 10 years ago where it was all about brand awareness. And so you had a budget of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year to raise brand awareness. And did it matter that an email sent out got you 0 new sales? No, because it was part of a total budget, and that total budget seemed to make sense, seemed to pay off. And I wonder if Amazon isn't aware that a lot of indie authors now expect to see a direct return on investment for every advertising dollar spent.
I think they don't really, well, I don't want to say they don't really care, but
no, that's really true.
Their audience are not the smaller, just starting out authors who actually, they're very invested in seeing direct return on deposit. I think it is the larger ones who want to make impressions and keep going impressions, because it takes about 65 impressions of an item before it comes into your consciousness. That's why we're always inundated with ads. So that $1,500 Vine, right? Vine reviews, all the clicks that you pay for, that finding out granularly who is responding and why is very important to those who, where hundreds of thousands of dollars is the potential of being earned.
Mm. Yeah, agreed.
So I think they're aware, but the audience are those who are really concerned with brand awareness.
Totally.
Mm. So it's not something you would try at all, Chrishuan, until you hit a certain amount
Not
of
at this stage, no. I am interested in seeing how keyword targeting works, because that's how Facebook ads work. You go by the age range, their interest, and what they actually write in and search for, or the things that they like, the keywords and the places they like. That data is pulled, and that's how they target your ads. So I'm interested to see how that works, but Vine, I'm too old for that.
Yeah. Yeah, for the keyword one, it seems to be in the search results, so that they would move you up higher. So if you're willing to pay for it to move you up higher, that would give someone an advantage, only if they're doing searching, a reader's searching by keywords, though.
Right. Yeah, but I think that very few readers actually search by keywords. I think that is not actually common reader behavior. And if it used to be common reader behavior, it's not reader behavior anymore. Because if search results led to sales, then we would see higher selling books at the top of search results, and we don't. We see completely random books at the top of search results. Completely random books that even though they're in KU, haven't sold or had a book borrowed in like the last week, for example. So, and I mean, like, and that's not even like for obscure keywords. Like if you search BDSM romance, some of the books that come up, you're like, Amazon, why on earth would you think this is the book that I'm expecting when I type in that? Like, that's not it. And so I think that Amazon's search is so broken that paying to be a part of that, paying to play in that, doesn't make any sense.
Mm. So they're no longer one of the best search engines in the world.
No. They used to be.
Yes.
You used to be able to find whatever you wanted, but as an Amazon consumer, I haven't been able to find what I want. And it's not even just in books. Like we only think about Amazon in terms of books, right? But like I was looking for an 80s costume for a conference that I went to, and the same couple of costume pieces kept coming up, even though I tried different search results. And I was like, I don't know why this, but it just I wasn't finding a variety of options until I started clicking through and following also bots. But it was actually an incredibly frustrating shopping experience.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Unless what you are looking for is extremely popular and is already a bestseller, you're going to have a heck of a time looking for something on Amazon.
Yeah. And if you know what you're looking for, and so you search, for example, by title, then that book doesn't need to pay for search results to be higher in the search results. They're already at the top of the search results, Like I have a funny story. I have a book coming out at the end of the month called Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. Word to the wise, do not include the word prime in your book, because it limits your search results to prime eligible products. And ebooks are not Prime eligible products. So I begged CreateSpace to help me put up a pre-order because paperbacks are Prime eligible products. And so they did. CreateSpace was fantastic. And but nobody, of course, pre-orders a paperback, right? They pre-order the ebook. And so we put the paperback up for pre-order probably the second week of April, and only this week. So a solid month. It took a solid month to get the paperback to show up on the first page of results. And at this conference that we went to, we had everybody at the conference search for Prime Minister plus our pen names in order to try and pull it up in the search results. And it took a massive effort. So, so there are struggles there, even when it's a book title. If you do something wrong with the book title, oops.
I wonder if they'll bother to fix that. I mean, you're probably an anomaly.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of books about actual prime ministers, not just fictional book boyfriend prime ministers, and they're all in the same. They're all in the same boat. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And for the second largest search engine, you would think they would aspire to be the best. No.
Okay, shall we move along then to our next item? So this one is about computer algorithms, finding books and matching them with publishers. So Toolforge Books has signed a deal with ebook startup Engl to publish the second book of author Erin Swan's Skywriters fantasy series. And Engl, the company responsible for discovering the novel, is an online writing platform where budding authors share their work with inquisitive readers. It relies on an artificially intelligent algorithm to bring the two together with the purpose of uncovering blockbuster books. So Engl announced that signing with Tor Books will bring about the first ever book chosen by predictive data. What I think Chrishuan probably has the most interest in this one. So
yes,
do you want to kick us off there, Chrishuan?
Two things. Number one, I'm going to separate this by what Engl is doing with Tor, and I'm going to talk about the technology. I'm going to start with the Engl doing his Tor is. As you dig a little bit further down into this article, what Engl is trying to do is find properties that they think will match up with publishers and then pitch it. They want to have a license to be able to pitch it to publishers. And it's very interesting the way they do it, but it is not probably the most effective way in my view. Even though Tor Books, the fact that they did offer a contract shows social proof that predictive applied intelligence, not artificial, but applied intelligence, is something that an artist should look into, at least when it comes to finding a market. And the reason why that is going into the data, because if you have a system or service that has enough data points to be able to compare who reads what, why, what will make them continue reading, and what will make them stop reading. What that does is help you narrow down your market. It can also help you strengthen your skills in terms of creating stories that you love to write and being able to find an audience that will read them faster. Not necessarily writing to traditional market, but writing to the market who will read your book.
I mean, and I think that sometimes sometimes this kind of a crowdsourcing books is a complete fail, and I don't know that technology would make that easier, better, or the success rate better or worse than using human intelligence to do it in a crowdsourcing model. But sometimes they find hits. And I think that if you look at romance, which is my genre, writing to market, right? Hitting all those points that readers are looking for that you learn because you either churn out, authors who have written, 10, 20 books, their next book is pretty on target for the market, right? Yeah. And so, I mean, you can sneer at that, but it's also it's good business, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I want to clarify that what they're doing and what we're involved in, and you can hear more about it next week because we're going to be talking about it. Well, sorry, Thursday, because we're going to be talking about it. Isn't necessarily crowdsourcing. It is pulling to data from readers, from customers, from all different sorts of places to the point of several petabytes of data.
Wow.
Yeah. And lining it up with, these are the age groups that are attracted to this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
These are the reasons why, right? And it's crowdsourcing if you had every person on earth giving you an opinion about your book. Yeah. And I think for those like in romance, they're very good to tell you whether or not what you're doing is hitting the mark. They're very vocal. Mm-hmm. And the romance industry itself is so open and generous that you can walk into a door in a room full of romance writers, trip and fall and find yourself a mentor. Seriously.
It's true.
I know that because I don't even write romance. Somebody suggested I go to Awesome Romance Writers from America, and I walked in the door and I asked, I have a stupid question. They're like, I'll answer it. And some of these people have been very supportive of me down to this very day. And I write nothing but romance in it. I write pulp. So when you have an environment like that, it's very easy to find your niche or to find suggestions of where your niche may be. But if you write like I do in a genre, pulp, action pulp, which has essentially been either co-opted into other genres or essentially dead for a long time, even though people still read them, it's harder. Mm-hmm. And so something like this, being able to find out who you would present this to, I think is a very valuable tool. Mm-hmm. But it should be open to authors.
Yeah, it should be open to authors, right? Because the last thing we need is yet another version of gatekeepers holding something from us, right?
Correct.
And I think the original German article about this, because I think it's a German company, says that they cut out the middleman, but I think there may be a mistranslation in there somewhere because they technically are the middleman.
They are the middleman. Yeah. They are absolutely the middleman. And having said that, I am glad that this is coming into awareness for authors, knowing that it is out there because it gives social proof that this may be a tool, not a magic button, not a solve all your problems pill, nothing like that, but it's a tool to become more effective in your craft and more effective in your business, because in the end, that's why we're in this. Right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, Engl are also known for their spam. So a lot of authors have been reporting that Engl have been spamming them quite heavily to try and get them to sign up to their writing contests, which seems to be how they get their feeder pull in, so that they have those books that they can match up to whatever publisher. And as well as that, they've also done fanfic writing contests, like the Star Wars sci-fi writing contest, which seems to be, I would say George Lucas might not be happy about that one.
Well, Disney now. George doesn't get a say in that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, back in the day, he was cool with that sort of thing. He loved fan fiction and the things that the fans did. Disney, I don't know so much about them. They may be a little touchy about that.
So while the company might be, have some really great news about the tour signing and using the kind of predictive technology for the books, they also seem to be going around getting the authors in a bit of a, we'll just say, spammy way.
Right. It's funny. I think about this and I'm looking because my husband just opened the door. I'm like, what do you need? You would think they would use this technology to see who their audience is. and see what would turn them off about the way you approach them. It's in a world where indie authors can be fell prey upon by folks all the time, looking to flatten the learning curve and make it easy or turnkey for them. I wish that they had been a little bit more smarter about this, right? But on the other hand, where do you find them? Where do you find them? Where do you find authors who are interested in this sort of thing? That wasn't quite rhetorical.
Well, I think that the risk is that the people who, I mean, if it becomes a service that's offered and, if it costs money, I think there's a serious risk that the people that end up taking, that end up using it actually end up getting taken advantage of in a way, Well, I mean, that's a risk with any author service, of course.
It is, especially for those who say that they will publish for you or find you a publisher. I think their approach to it was very spammy, and I think their approach to it kind of, I don't want to say praise, but it works with the author's desire to be published in a way that those of us who got into the game before the indie rush, before the Amazon Gold rush, always had those fantasies of somebody discovering your book and saying, yes, I choose you, like a Pokemon. And then you have all these riches because everyone's reading your book. And anything that takes away the actual work that goes into writing a book, publishing a book, and marketing a book, I think people are, it appeals to writers, but they should not have done it this way because what they have is actually legitimate. And it just saddens me.
So spammy nature takes away that legitimacy almost in a way, doesn't it?
Yes, almost absolutely.
Okay, shall we move along to Booktrope? Yes. So I don't know if you've heard about these guys, but they're a company that connects authors with editors, designers, etc., and relied on an income sharing model. And they announced recently that it will go out of business at the end of May. So those in charge said via email to all of the authors, etc., Booktrope Books have not generated sufficient revenues to make the business viable. Rights are reverting back to the authors, however, but there seems to be some uncertainty over pay for the editors, designers, and others who look to have earned a percentage of book sales. So they're obviously missing out on money there. What do you guys think about Booktrope?
So I have a number of friends who had books published by Booktrope, often like their first couple of books, and they've since moved past that point, right?
Were they quality books? Did he look good? Were they well edited?
No, the covers were really, truly terrible. Like, I feel bad saying that, on blab where that's going to be broadcast. But no, I mean, like, I think that sometimes the editing was good. I mean, the writing was sometimes good, but as upsetting as it is for all the people involved, I think it's probably for the best. I don't think that it was a viable business model.
No, I don't think it was a viable business model because indie authors are cheap. And I say that as an indie author, I don't want to shell out that kind of money to do the work. But on the other hand, I don't want to have to pay a lifetime for a single service.
I mean, it's the same as like royalty share on your audiobooks, right? Like, it seems like a good option at first when you think that you need to get in on something. But I mean, I think that it raises, I think it's a good moment to pause and reflect on rushing to market and trying to do it an easy way as opposed to doing it the right way.
Right.
And you make the choices differently, right? If you have to pay for an editor or you have to pay for a cover, you expect a higher quality than if those people are like your partners in something.
Right. And you will not think about it until it hits really big and you're like, I'm still paying this person a lot of money. There are some independent editors who do that. Well, I'll do it for so many cents a word or so many dollars per 1,000 words, or I can just take 10% of your royalties for that book. But
then the downside for the editors is that if you're an indie author that sucks, they're going to get no money off you. So that's a lot of work that they've done that they're not getting compensated.
Don't hear what I'm not saying. Pay your editor, right? Yeah. Pay your editors. Absolutely. They go and they spend their time. You better pay him on time, and then get your edits in on time too. I'm not saying you don't pay your editors. What I'm saying is that if you're truly serious about your craft, you're truly serious about your work, you saved your money so you can pay them up front.
And I think even if your work doesn't suck, I think that any kind of royalty share will take a long time to pay off. For the vast majority of products. I'm doing audiobooks. I'm doing a fair number of audiobooks right now. And I'm paying upfront. I pay my narrator a fair per finished hour rate. And I have I have a decent fan base, and my ebook sales are good, and my paperback sales are whatever. But my audiobook sales are very modest. And I actually wouldn't feel comfortable at this point knowing what my audiobook sales are. I would not feel comfortable entering into a royalty share agreement because I don't think that would be fair for the narrator. Yeah. Whereas for me, I have more options in terms of flexing, my promo for an ebook to push the sales towards audiobooks, because they're whisper synced on Amazon and stuff like that. Right. It's my business, but I think that there's some unintended taking advantage that can happen, totally unintentional, but of other people who you're not truly partners in a shared business. And so by giving them a percentage, you're basically forcing them to help promote it. And that leads to lifelong accounting complications and things like that. It just doesn't make sense as a business model.
No.
And tax. If you ever get, to the point where it's that high.
Yeah, and tax, right? and then what if they don't pay their income tax? Are you connected in some ways? Is there any legal obligation there? That's just messy.
Yes, it gets messy really quickly. Yeah. And that's just getting past the fact that they probably won't get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are roles that should be work for hire, right? Yes. It's your intellectual property. You wrote a book. The book itself is the most important part of that. With all due respect to editors and cover designers, it is not their intellectual property.
No. And so they should get paid for the work that they do.
Yeah.
But they should not get paid for ongoing benefits of their contribution to your work.
And a side note to that, because every so often this comes up in author loops, and there are some assistants out there that say that they should get paid. It's pretty galling, actually. Assistants who say that their standard rate is 10% of an author's sales.
No.
No. Oh, no. No. Assistant, editor, cover designer, narrator, these are all work for hire per hour roles. And you can pay them well per hour, but it is not the same thing as being a content creator.
That's just like the assistant of the CEO saying that the standard way I get paid is 10% of the annual profit for your company. No, it isn't. It's $24 an hour plus medical. That's what you get paid.
Yeah. Living wage. You get a nice, healthy living wage.
Yes. That's it. Yeah. And an expense account if you don't bug me.
Okay. Let's move along to the last item on the list. So we seem to be doing a lot of stuff about advertising. So Goodreads has recently announced that they're introducing Kindle ebook giveaways as a beta program, but only for the US market. So they already have the giveaways for print books, which authors can do, but now they've opened it up to Kindle books. However, there is a fee for this one at $119. Who wants to start?
So, I mean, it's a bit academic for me because I'm a Canadian, so it's not actually available to me.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet. I don't know when they will. I mean, a lot of these things, I wait forever for them to become available. At first blush, I think, if it did the job of creating some buzz and getting a book put on thousands of to-read shelves on Goodreads, maybe for the right project, I might try it. But can you hear all those like caveats in my voice? It certainly doesn't make me super excited.
No. What about you, Chrishuan?
I like the idea of it. And I like the fact that they raised the price high to keep the gamers out of the game. Mm-hmm. I really do like that. It tells me that they're being smart about it. But I'm torn because Goodreads is known as being a hard nut to crack. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't want to do this until I knew I had a bit more social proof. Mm-hmm. Right? I wanted to do this when I know that in other places, my reviews and the quality of my work is to a point where these whale readers are not going to sit up there and harpoon my book. Yeah. And then I've spent $200.
Yeah, it circles back to the original, the first topic that we discussed today, that really there are more and more complex advertising opportunities available to people who have a significant platform, yes. Right? And upon that foundation, we can now get more specific at targeting people. But until you have that foundation, is this a good way for a newer author to spend $119 for promotion? I don't think so.
No. Spend that editing, getting the book edited, and getting your second book started.
Yeah. I mean, and to reach 100 people who may review a book, you could rent a few NetGalley co-op slots for that, yes. And it's probably I give away somewhere between 40 and 200 copies on NetGalley if I put it up for a week or two. And from that, I might get, 5 to 15 reviews, but I would be shocked if you give away 100 ebooks on Goodreads. I would be shocked if you got more than 5 reviews out of that. So I think that probably, if you're looking at now, I don't think that the goal of it is to get reviews, to be honest. I don't think that that's what Goodreads is doing. I think it's a trigger to try and generate buzz and to get people see it in their newsfeed, their Goodreads newsfeed, and they're like, oh, someone added that book to their shelf. I'll add the to read too. Click, click, click. And if that 100 can somehow turn into 1,000 or 2,000 or more people adding it to your to read shelf, then there's buzz. And then people are like, what's this book about? Because if you're on a to read shelf on Goodreads and you do it before the book goes live, and it sounds like you can, right? It sounds like you can do this Goodreads giveaway if you have a pre-order up. Right. Then on your release date, Goodreads sends an email and says that book that you've got on your to-read shelf is now live. Mm-hmm. So that is the value of it. It's not reviews, but that only has value if somebody was maybe likely to put it on their to-read shelf and all they needed to have it was in front of them, right? So you're paying to have your book in front of more people.
This would be really interesting if you had already was an established name or established in one series, and then you wanted to get those views if you're starting another series, or if you were starting a pen name, perhaps. Once again, like you said, getting those views at 65 instances, that flattens that very quickly.
Yeah. So if you write something to market, and it's a market that's super popular on Goodreads. So I have 2 pen names, right? Zoe York and Ainsley Booth. I would never do this for a Zoe York book because those readers are quieter and they tend to not be as active on social media. And I know this from the difference in my social media interaction versus my mailing list. Like my Zoe York mailing list is 3 times bigger than my Ainsley Booth mailing list, but my Ainsley Booth interaction on social media is way higher. Right. So the people who live on Facebook and live on Goodreads, they're all over Ainsley's books, right? But the people who have full-time jobs and read on their commute to and from, they subscribe to Zoe's mailing list, and they just get the news directly from me, right? So it's like, you got to know, whether or not the Goodreads reader is the person that you're actually wanting to target.
Right. This is not a first level promotion strategy. Not at all.
What are the comments in response to Goodreads' announcement on their blog, which we'll be sharing the link of on the page, was that they question the number of actual active Goodreads readers when they've previously done the print giveaways. They've looked at some of the profiles of some of the people, and there's no activity other than clicking that they want the book. So they said they estimated in their experience about 70% of the people that are interested in their book don't do anything else on Goodreads. They don't have friends on Goodreads. They don't add things to their shelves on Goodreads. They're just there for the freebies from Goodreads. So that kind of diminishes the little bit of that social buzz that could be going on there.
But on the other hand, that is something that we're going to experience as authors doing promotions anyway. As long as perma-free is part of our marketing strategy, as long as the funnel is part of our marketing strategy, you're going to get the folks who are just like, I want it for free, and can you make all your stuff free so I can read it all, right? So that should not surprise you. And once again, what the aim should be in all this is getting those instances in front of the eyes of people. So no, it isn't, like I said, for someone who's starting out, or someone whose business is small, or someone who's starting out with a very new series. I don't think this is the type of thing you want to do. This is more targeted, more next level, and more as an accompaniment to what you're already doing, something that's along the lines of a very strong list.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add before we finish? No? Okay. Zoe, where can we find you? What? Sorry?
No, I was just going to say, sorry, about that last point. I know that there are some romance authors who actually do really well, or they say that they do really well, and they continue to do regular Goodreads ads, which is something that an entry-level author will have zero results on, right? So again, it's one of those things where if you have a platform, the results are staggeringly different.
And you can always go to library thing and give away your ebooks already for free anyway. So although it doesn't have as huge a following as Goodreads does, but it's an option if you're a newbie. Okay, so Zoe, where can we find you on the internet?
So usually I say zoeyork.com, but today I'm going to say friskybeavers.com, because that's the website for our new book that I've co-written with Sadie Heller, the Prime Minister book. So friskybeavers.com, and you can read the first 3 chapters there.
Ooh. And Chrishuan, where can we find you?
You can find me at alazar.com, AAAZAR.com. And my first book, actually my first 2 books, are going for free order: Tales of Alazar, Black Golden Sage, and The Courser, Starters of the Flood. And those are available on Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon. You know, the place we were talking about earlier in the show.
That big river and the jungle. Okay, awesome. And you can find me at ericaconroy.com, and you can find the Self-Publishing Roundtable at self-publishingroundtable.com. There is no that in front of that one. No. Okay. We're also interviewing Michael Anderley on Thursday, so if you want to watch that, all the information will be up on the website. So
more applied intelligence, data, nerdy stuff. You want to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, and he's also earned like a ton of money up front on his books and shit like that. So yeah. Thank you, Chrishuan, for coming on, and also thank you so much for Zoe for joining us today.
Thank you. Always fun. Bye.
Awesome. See you. Bye.